Ooh, what's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today's post is titled Context, and as it's a dialogue between Matthias and his higher self, I'd be referring to Matthias as me and his higher self as I am. Me. Yesterday you told me that it was important to remember the way we were born because it identifies the pulse with which we live our lives. But not all of us who are born in the same way have the same imprint on life. For example, I was born by a cesarean section, and many others too, and yet we do not live our lives in the same way. Why? I am in the same way that no one will see the same scenario, circumstance, color, situation, idea, and events. The events we experience depend on how one perceives them. Like when you watch a movie, the scenes are the same and everyone can see them. However, each viewer will see something different. They will focus on a specific moment. They will reflect on a specific character. They will like some scenes more than others. There are those who will look at the aesthetic scene and photography. Others will think about the direction, another in the acting, another only in the story or some link between the characters that reminded them of their own life. And there are those who will take the film almost as a story, real. Therefore, just as you live, it is perceived in different ways by others. You cannot tell the other what he lived, because only the other knows what he feels. For you, that experience gave you that awareness of effortlessness, that things are always served on a platter, because in turn, your state of vibration and perception was wide. But there will also be those who have not made the initial strength in life due to the cesarean section, have great difficulties to face conflicts in life because they have not awakened the initial strength and they are more susceptible to the environment. Me. Then, depending on the emotion, the pulse, the frequency in which it's vibrating, I will assimilate what I have lived, making myself unique in a similar experience. I am. All the details make the singularity. All perception molds the self. The perception of the external world at the moment of birth is what gives meaning to the initial pulse. The cycle of life, then, will depend on the first push towards it. If birth is the first big change in the process of your life, all the other changes that you experience in it will have the same feeling. Identifying it helps to foresee the way in which I will experience the next stages so that I can prepare in advance. Me, what about those who don't remember how they were born? I am. Easy. You have to learn to ask. To remember is to unite the lost and separated parts of you. Therefore, you have to ask the father to the mother, to the relatives, or whoever can remember the least of the moment of your birth. The date does not matter. It does matter what your body lived, what your parents lived, what you lived. Ask, inquire. It's very simple. Me, and those who no longer have who to ask. I am. We all have at least a slight notion of our birth. Who does not have it must work on why he does not have it, why he never spoke it, why he does not know it. There is the way you are living your life. Not knowing the birth is not knowing the roots of the tree that you are. The concept of not knowing is part of the analysis that they must do, recognizing why I do not know. It can show how we see the world today because of it. Me, sure, everything counts. The important thing is that we ask ourselves questions about our first memories or what others can tell us about it. I am knowing your birth or how little or nothing you know about it. It helps you understand where you have been in life to move forward, grow, live, experience. This way you will understand more of who you are. Me. And what does this have to do with astrology? I am. Astrology shapes your soul, your energy, but it is a subject that should be discussed at another time. Now focus on your body, your cells, your senses. Me, okay. So if what I have to take into account is that the first pulse is conditioned by the senses and therefore the perception I have of things. One of the factors that has determined what I am, rather than the form of delivery, is the context in which it occurred, right? I am. There is our second stop, the theme of our second day. Context is another of those words that came from Latin. Context means the words come and texitus. The first means accompany, and the second means tissue. The fabric is that network of different elements that intertwine, creating a network of interconnected materials that manifest as structure. Therefore, the context is a set of fabrics of different origin and nature that combine to create one. Today, you usually say that the context of something means that which surrounds it, a situation or circumstance in which the subjects meet or where things happen. However, in this vision, the subject in question is separated from the context as if they were totally different things. The truth is that both are inevitable of each other. Every context shapes who we are because they are those networks that condition our formation. You could understand the context as a river that surrounds a peninsula in, in a canyon. You can think of the context of the rock formation as a canyon and a river, referring to where it is and what is going on around it. However, there would be no peninsula or rock formation without the erosion of the river flow. In other words, it is the context that shapes you and makes you who you are, at least what you appear to be. For the rock formation is nothing more than the set of millions of fossilized microorganisms, millions of years of accumulation of organic matter converted into mineral, and layers of inorganic materials accumulated by rivers, seas, and the wind that formed the land. Thus, the deep and internal history of being, it can only be discovered by someone who looks far beyond your forms, or by yourself, searching for the truth within yourself. But as long as you live in unconsciousness, your context will define you more than your truth. This network will let you know who you are in the world around you. Me. So speaking of the moment of birth, the context, which would be the hospital or the house or whatever place, those who were around and those absent, all of this has shaped who I am now. I am, and not only that, but your first memories. Ask again, how was the context of your birth? What was happening there? How was everything? But above all, try to remember, what are your first childhood memories, the oldest you can remember, whether you were 7 years, 5 or 2, or days old. Try to remember the context, or ask what it was, but always before the age of 7. Make the effort and ask yourself, what is the first context you remember? The physical fabric around you shaped who you are today, and the energetic fabric of astrology shaped what you feel and how you act today. But today, it is easier to identify, and we will get to it. For this reason, the question I ask you today is, what was your context? Me, you mean the people there were and what they were doing around me, the places where we were, everything that happened at the first thing we identified with our own memory, of which we became aware, right? I am, exactly. The people you remember, the emotions you have in relation to each of them, grandparents, uncles, parents, or even adoptive ones, or an orphanage. Take the notion of the first context that you lived in your life. Me. And what will this do for me? I am. It will help you know the contexts you seek and create in your life. If they are healthy spaces, if they are traps, if they are dependency, pain, joy, they will help you to know how your subconscious builds your reality, weaves your world. You are working for the planetary network in the fabric of a planet, connecting on a daily basis with the tissues of thousands of people, with the will to transform the current planetary context for a transcendental one. Doesn't it seem logical to you then that those who constitute the will and love through this network in formation, should they ask themselves, from where are they looking to build this network? Me. We are the web weaving spiders. So one of the tasks we have is to recognize if what we do and we weave is to catch insects in our nets, or weave a house, or connect paths between the branches. The intention will make a difference. I understand. I am. Then write down what were the first contexts that I remember in my life. Me. And then I am. There is no later in this month. Do not advance the steps. Analyze is enough for today. The path continues, one step at a time. Wondering where you are going sometimes helps you to get the push to get to your destination. Yet it takes away from how important it is to discover the details along the way. Stop thinking about why now. Go to the cause, and you will see that there is much there to discover before you know where you will go with this. I will only tell you that if you seek to weave a web for a world in balance and harmony, you must understand from where you weave it by recognizing your first weavings, your first context. Me, I am a product of my context. I am woven and weaver.